Things I currently hate about tech. Go! NVIDIA releasing new landmark tech while hoarding it under their bullshit closed-source GameWorks technology so people continue to flock entirely to their own branch of uncompetitive, pointlessly expensive, best-ever graphics cards, instead of pushing the entire industry forward for the betterment of the customers they want to consistently siphon money from. Their launch of the 2080 Ti involved the phrase ray tracing no less than 47,000 times, while thanks to obscene levels of NDA, actual benchmarks of the card were squirreled away behind incredibly vague "lots of games run at 4K 100 FPS" that various news sources put out. What they didn't tell you is those benchmarks are for Pong, window minimize animations, and Google Sheets. Real-time ray tracing being pushed as the next big thing in gaming graphics, shown off here by NVIDIA literally dumping its massive balls out for its fans to see. Watch in real time as these motionless orbs change from a dark, dreary appearance to bright and reflective in an instant, while a gormless crowd claps at the totally undoctored before and after transition like an out-of-touch middle-aged woman staring at diet plans. All this despite the fact this will just cause countless screams of "Ah, there's an enemy! Shoot him! Shoot it!" Oh wait, it's just my reflection. Then your head is immediately parted from your neck by an unseen sniper because you were too busy drooling over real-time lighting reflections, rather than the near-excellent fakery that gaming has used for the longest time to achieve similar effects that often go completely unseen by players since they're not using top-end hardware and focusing more on playing the game than jerking themselves silly over graphical muscle. This frame rate business is the thing that matters. If your real-time reflections restrict your highest end card from achieving solid frame rates at high resolution, there's no point upgrading. Though if the claim of up to double the performance over the last offerings holds true, then fair enough. It'd just be nice to see some actual benchmarks showing off the new actual power of the card, rather than having a load of pretty tech demos showing off purdy reflections. I don't want hype, I want numbers, I want facts, cold, hard, brutal facts showing how bad my Titan XP is. But this isn't even necessarily the only problem that I have with this. Games are still going to be developed without ray tracing in mind due to the sheer technological might required to render it in any meaningfully well-performing way, and this could work against those who have lower powered rigs. This isn't the first time that a technological advancement has given an edge to players who are willing to drop the money for it. There's certainly an argument to be had on the idea that ultra-widescreen monitors give FPS players a significant advantage over others, given the increased FOV those players can achieve in many games as a result. But most good players have good enough game sense that they can handle being attacked by more than just what is directly in front of them. Well-made audio cues help a lot in providing a greater sense of the world around you in a game, along with the likes of minimaps, enemy spotting abilities, and literal wall hacks as part of a game's design, giving plenty of non-tech related options to knowing more about the wider world around you. Only when this kind of thing is poorly implemented do you have the major issue of not knowing what's going on outside of what your pathetic little 4.3 lightbox has to offer. There's a potential that this could provide significant unintended advantages to players in certain situations. Picture a player camping in a corridor with a conveniently placed mirror who can now see an enemy coming around the corner due to the reflection. All of a sudden you have a player with god-tier map sense, able to use insanely important lighting cues that other players are totally cut off from, and these features will likely take a good chunk of development time on games, making sure they're fair and balanced for others who don't have the means to drop significant wads of cash on a graphics brick. Either that or they'll just ignore it and make it unbalanced as fuck. Don't get me wrong, the technology itself is certainly interesting, and could potentially pave the way to giving hyper-realistic imagery in these pointless, simultaneously relaxing and stress-inducing time wasters, but if niche aspects of gameplay like this suffer as a result, which I imagine it will do in the likes of things like Battlefield 5 that are primarily a multiplayer game, I'm not entirely for it. Games don't need photorealism to be fun. If anything, some of the most fun games out there use very particular graphical styles that ray tracing would in all likelihood utterly ruin, removing the aspects of a game's aesthetics and replacing it with pointless, gaudy rendering tricks that tank playable frame rates and crisp resolutions, all for the sake of seeing yourself in a mirror. I do that enough on a daily basis and recoil at the image on the other side. I don't need that shit in my games too.